Welcome to the Cory Lee Show, where our focus is on building leaders and transforming culture. My name is Cory Lee, and in each episode, I aspire to ignite something on the inside of you that encourages you to grow yourself and to make an impact on the world around you. Welcome to the Cory Lee Show. Welcome back to the Cory Lee Show, guys. Have a great episode today. You better get your pen and better get your piece of paper. I've got an in-studio guest here with me, a good friend of mine, John Tutor. John is actually somebody, man, I met, I don't know, just a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we were at a...
No, it was like 2.5 years.
Okay. Yeah. My wife says I'm not very good at time frames. You know, it could have been 10 years. I don't really know. It could have been last month. But John is somebody I've gotten to know over the last few years. Just an incredible guy. I love his hunger, love his heart for people, and love his hunger to grow and develop and make an impact in the lives of his customers. And he is an entrepreneur, has his own business. It is called, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe even on some of the Instagram reels and stuff that we put out, what's the name called there, John?
Ultimate Pest Solutions.
Ultimate Pest Solutions. And so really excited to have John on. And one of the reasons I wanted to have John on, one is I would love for you guys to get to know him and hear about him and his business, but just love the growth that I've seen in his own life over the last few years as I've gotten to come alongside of him. And so, John, just welcome to the Cory Lee Show.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here. Long listener, lots of value, and just what a great time to get to spend with you.
Yeah, man. Well, excited to have you here. And I know this is going to be good. We don't really know where it's going to go. I know it's going to be great. And so, John, I told a little bit about where you are today. So you married, got 3 kids, you own your own business, but kind of take us back just a little bit. Take us on the journey. Fill in some gaps. How did you get from where you were to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a big question, man. And well, just born and raised here in Pontotoc County, North Mississippi, and just good country folk, a lot of factory workers, and we lived in the country, had horses and acreage and gardens, and had a really good childhood. And when I was young, my parents split, and so it was always kind of going back and forth between my mom's house and my dad's house, and I was loved. My grandparents played a big part in my life as well, and so whenever I was in 6th grade, I joined the band and started enjoying music, and I played the trumpet. I figured out, hey, I'm kind of good at this. It's kind of an escape. And then when I was in 8th grade, I was 13 and my dad passed, and that was a big shock. And I always wanted to have that fatherly love, and it was just kind of taken away from me. And it's like I didn't know where to turn. My grandfather was big in helping me in just direction of my life, and just having those conversations, showing me what a man should be, what a friend, what a neighbor should be. And that was really helpful, showing me how to work on cars, shoot a gun, work with tools in my hands. And so that was nice to have those guys to come along, whether it was a band director or one of my Tommy, his dad John, was kind of like a second dad to me. And so just going up through high school, and just having fun. Didn't have any plans of knowing where I was going to go or what I was going to do. And so I went to college just like everybody else. And well, my senior year, I went to a special needs camp. I just volunteered to over the summer, just for a week, so that just right before school started, I was like, yeah, I'll try this. And so just volunteered at this Girl Scout camp where they have a volunteer for special needs kids. And I went there with the intention of, hanging out with my buddy and making fun of the kids. And very quickly I realized that they were there to teach me.
Wow.
And then I didn't get to hang out with my friend at all. But I was hanging out with those kids and just seeing the innocence and the joy that they had. And that's actually where I met my wife. She was also going into her senior year. And, so we just became friends, and we both graduated and went to college and reconnected there and got more serious. And so we got married when we were 21. And, we were high on life and still no real big directions. Just so we had an opportunity to move out to South Carolina for a job. And so we did that for a few years. And after about 2.5 years, we got pregnant. So we were excited. And we learned that at her first ultrasound that she had Down syndrome. And, that was a big shock. And, just remember after the doctor's appointment, just taking a ride around the downtown neighborhood area and just holding, my new bride, and just like, what are we going to do? But looking back, God was preparing us the whole time, the whole way, because we both served in that capacity. And then he was just blessing us so that we could be on the other side of it. And so Ava's now 8 in a few weeks.
Wow, let's go.
8 years old. And, just brings so much joy and, just laughter and imagination to everybody, that she's around. They call her the mayor at school, because she just walks up and down the hallway just waving at people and hugging them and just brightens everybody's day. She's a Girl Scout. She's done dance for 4 or 5 years, and so they're capable of more than what we give them credit for at times. And so we had her, and then we decided to move back to be closer with family to Mississippi, and we did that. And so I was working some jobs, and then I started working at a local company, a national company, but I was working in the local area. And so did that, but I was broke. I was broke inside. I had a newborn. I was still a newlywed. They say the first 5 years you're a newlywed, right? So I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to love my wife. I didn't know how to love my daughter. And so I went down the road of just drinking and, smoking weed and just trying to find an escape, for a long time, through college and whatnot. And whenever I moved back, I said, I got to figure this out. I got to make some money. I needed some money. I was broke. I was broke as a person and my bank account. And so I started listening to these podcasts. And first of all, I needed money, so I started listening to Dave Ramsey. And I was like, I can figure
Uncle Dave.
Yeah, I had to figure out this budget thing, right? And so I started budgeting. And then I realized, hey, I needed a bigger shovel, so I started working more. And then I quickly realized it wasn't just a money thing, right? It was a heart thing. And so after attending local church, I slowly started realizing that I needed to be right with God, so I could lead myself, so that I could lead others. And then whenever I started focusing on God, right, something happened in my heart, which made me want to focus on other areas of my life, like communication, and then fitness. And then guess what? The money started working itself out. And then the happiness started coming in. And then we get we get pregnant again with our second child, a son, John Hollis. And I was like, okay. And so we saved up and God blessed us with a house, 2019. So been in our house for 5 years. I was like, okay, I'm making it somewhere. I'm making some headway, you know, and then that's probably I started getting a little too extreme on just going, you know, so hard in one direction of just working out, you know, nose to the grindstone, a real go-getter. You know, I wanted to make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into forgetting about my other responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that's about the time where I was like, okay, I'm working so much, you know, but I'm not happy. I'm worn out. I'm overworked. I'm overstressed. You know, I can't keep doing this. And that's about the time I met you. I remember, I don't even know how we got added friends on Facebook. Do you just go around adding people on Facebook?
No, I don't add anybody.
I'm pretty sure you.
I get a lot of requests, but I don't go out adding folks.
But I remember seeing just on your Facebook profile, John Maxwell Leadership, and I was like, oh, this guy's local and he's part of John Maxwell, you know. And whenever I listen to somebody like John Maxwell, just put it so intentional, so precisely, it just seems so clear. And so I was like, okay, well, this guy knows those principles. Let me attach myself to him. So I met you at an event, and we connected. You gave me some book recommendations. Do you remember what it was?
I probably could guess, but I don't remember what they were.
Well, the main one is the Traveler's.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recommend that one a good bit.
Is that
The
it?
Traveler's Gift. Yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah, and so that started opening up my eyes in different areas, and I was like, wow, I didn't know, you know, this type of book was out there. And so, you know, we just slowly started just connecting and doing more things and growing. And I remember you kind of asking me like, well, when's the last time you took a wife on a date? I'm like, that ain't how I make more money. You trying to get me to spend more money, man.
How are we going to make more money?
Yeah.
Well, when's the last time you took your wife on a date?
Yeah, does this guy know what I'm trying to do?
I don't think he heard what I asked.
Yeah. And so just from there, just trying to grow in all aspects of my life. And I remember sitting down and having coffee, and I was like, Cory, this is who I am. This is who I think I want to be. And you just listen to me and just ask me more questions, gets me to think. And I remember saying I had these F6 goals, right? I wanted to be the true best leader I could be. I wanted to focus on my family. I wanted to focus on my fitness, on my faith, on my finances, on my friendships, and then on my fun. And you said, you got it. you said you're way ahead of all these other people, but I couldn't see it myself because you have talked to so many other people along the way, you know, that haven't made those connections, that haven't made those realizations of you know what it's about and how they're all connected. You know, once I started focusing on those things, like, yeah, the money started coming, the joy started coming, right? And then I remember learning the word worship in the Bible is the same as work. The same as work is the same as worship. And I wanted to be a worship leader. And so worshiping in all that I could, being the best ambassador for Christ that I could be. That's worship, not just Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. Whenever I could worship with my finances. God has made us a CEO of our lives. Would he be proud of the way that I'm using my finances, investing, of buying? Would he be proud of the way that I'm treating my wife, of how I still date her? I remember I started calling her my bride again. and saying, I still love you, and I love you even more now than what I did, and you're even more my bride, and I will continue to pursue you. Chuck says
I was going to say
Chuck wakes his wife up with a cup of coffee every day and says, I'm going to pursue you.
Baby cakes.
And and then also your friendships, and pouring into them. And it's like I get more out of that than what they do. But it took a lot of practice and time before I could realize, that I was going to get more out of it, right? It's better to give than to receive. But when you are giving, you are also receiving. It's sevenfold.
John, you talk a good bit about worship is work, or work is worship. And I like that. And I think sometimes we can get so sidetracked, kind of like what you were saying. It is very easy to compartmentalize our lives of like, well, this is my work life, this is my family life, this is faith, fitness, finance, all that stuff. But I love how you say that. I would just love to hear kind of like, when you think about that, like, what does that look like lived out? You are going into people's homes. You're doing ultimate pest solutions, like you're providing solutions for the pest problems that people have, right? And I like that. But like, what does it look like to have work as worship?
Yeah, so I used to look at myself as just a bug man. Like I was, I could just feel what people thought of me, but I didn't know what God thought of me. And whenever I realized that, we're called to be a slave to the kingdom, not because we have to, but because we want to. We get to do this every day. We get to wake up. We get to worship collectively, and even what does it say, in the closet, right?
In the secret space.
In the secret space. And so,
hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Cory Lee Show. Y'all, I am on a mission to build leaders and to transform culture. So if you're looking for a speaker who speaks directly to the heart, a mentor to come alongside you and your team, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a personal coach who embraces where you are and also believes in who you could become, then I would be honored to walk this path with you. Simply reach out to me on my email at Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com. Look, let's make your vision a reality. Contact me, and together we'll navigate the path from aspiration to achievement. Your transformation, it starts now.
It's intentionality. Cory, you say something about, where's your heart posture at? Yeah. Are you doing this for yourself? Are you doing this for your own glory? Whenever you said those things, whenever you reacted that way, what was your heart posture? Were you trying to worship? Was the Holy Spirit filling you and leading you? And so, just whenever you get in the Word gets in you and it flows out, right? So controlling that tongue and that udder and my reactions. And I would just, something would come in, it would trigger something, and then I would just react. And then I learned that was a weakness. So learning how to control myself so that I could bless others. And I had more joy, had more peace. And it says in Romans 5 about challenges and trials, doing hard things. Sometimes people think that the Christian life is, I got saved, it's all going to be good now. It's all good now, I'm saved. No, that's when the real work happens. That's when the devil is really going to start attacking you. Now, I think we all have our own stories, but that leads to endurance and strength of character, right? Of how you react. And then that leads to hope and salvation and joy. And so I remember writing that out in just arrows of challenges and strength and endurance and character and hope and joy and salvation. I was like, that's what I want. I want hope, joy, and salvation. So do hard things, serve others. That's worship every day. And so that's what a leader was.
Yeah, I like that. And, you know, I like how you say it's really, it's interesting. You say you thought people saw you just as a bug man. And really it is understanding that identity, but it's really taking pride in everything that I do. In leadership, we talk about respect. And one of the ways that you gain respect is, number one, you got to respect you. You got to have respect for yourself. You respect for other people. You got to have courage, go out and win some. But one of the ways that you gain respect is having a certain level of respect for the work that you do, and taking a pride in doing things with excellence. It doesn't matter what the role is or what the job is, it's doing that with excellence. I know you've probably heard me share this story, and I've shared it a good bit, but I like to say, you know, when it's your birthday in our family, you get to choose where we're going to go out to eat at. And our niece, out of all the places she could have chose, she wanted to go to Cracker Barrel on a Sunday, all right? Now, for those of you that may be chuckling or something, or maybe you don't, maybe he's like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Well, on a Sunday at Cracker Barrel, there's like an 87-hour wait to get in that place, all right? And so we wait our 87 hours. We finally get seated. Waiters, waitresses are going crazy. But there's this busboy. And this busboy, in this high-stress situation, he's carrying himself in a certain kind of way. He's got his head up, his shoulders back, and he is walking like he is going somewhere on purpose. And he goes up to a table and he takes the water bottle out of his pocket. He spins it around his fingers and shoots down the table, spins it back around, puts it back in his pocket. And I noticed that our kids, they stopped everything they were doing and they were watching this guy wipe down tables. And like, he did not have to carry himself like that, but he was taking some kind of pride in the work that he was doing, and the work that he was doing was wiping down some tables. You know, that I see that in what you're talking about. Work is worship. Like I can magnify the Lord in whatever I do, whether it's, you know, many people want to stand up on the stage, and I know one of the greatest fears is public speaking, but when I say stand up on the stage in the spotlight, they want their name up front.
Right.
And whenever it's go time, whenever the lights are on, that's, well, when that time comes, then I'll do things with excellence. And you know, the Bible clearly says is really, you know, if you could be faithful with the small, you can be faithful with the large. But one of the mentors I always said, listen to, he said, how you do anything is how you do everything. Right?
Is that Nick Saban?
That's Paul Martinelli. You know, Paul Martinelli. I talk a lot about him. So, but Nick Saban's got some good stuff too. And so, man, I love that.
There was one more thing.
Yeah, come on.
I remember learning that I'm selfish. Cory, you're selfish too, right? You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. You got to put your mask on the airplane if something happens, and take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else. And so to be selfish, I wanted to become selfless, right? Because the more that I serve, the more that I over-deliver for somebody else, it's just going to come back to me. And so I got into a routine of serving others, looking into other people the way that I wanted them to look at me. And so Paul says, if you're an encourager, encourage, right? And if you're a giver, give. And so I just wanted to start giving of my time and my energy, and just started encouraging. I learned how to listen. I had 2 ears and 1 mouth, and started to ask people questions and then just listen at what they could say so that I can learn from them. Mm-hmm. And that was a big, remember that was a big light bulb moment. That's just continued just to serve me.
Yeah, I like that. There's something that you said too. I forget exactly what you said, but you said you became aware of something that was inside of you. Maybe you had what was it you said, a bad attitude, or you would get frustrated. You would get frustrated. And I love the fact that you brought that up. Like when we're growing, as we grow, a lot of that stuff kind of rises to the surface, right? Like, oh, I actually do I get mad when this happens, or I get frustrated when this happens. That's kind of just bringing some stuff to the surface. And I think what I've seen in you is that level of awareness. Hey, that thing rose to the surface. It doesn't have to stay there. Now that it's at the surface, I can actually deal with it, right? I become aware of something, and you've I don't know if you've seen that show Forged, right, where they put the gold or the silver or the knife in there, and all the impurities rise to the top, and they can pull that impurities off. Well, it's kind of like that. Those impurities that are deep within our heart rise to the surface. Well, now that I'm aware about it, I can do something about it. They don't have to stay there. And that's what I've kind of seen in you, John, is you've become aware of some of these areas of growth. You haven't allowed to say, oh, woe is me, oh, poor is me, and get frustrated, allow this stuff to get back in there. It's like, okay, this is not the way I want to be. What can we do about it? Let's do something. I need to grow here. And so I think that's something you do really well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I would always listen, so I started just listening to podcasts, right? And how did other people become successful, quote unquote? And, what did they do whenever they had great faith? And so diving deep into other entrepreneurs, diving deep into people in the fitness areas, right? There's experts everywhere. Information is free. It's what you do with it. And so I started taking actions. Cory, you talk about, I forget what you call it, but I call it T-bar. So I had to control my thoughts, and your thoughts lead down to your beliefs, and then your beliefs go to your actions, and then the actions go to the results. What are the results that I want to see in my life? Therefore, I need to change my thoughts. And then that's going to affect what I believe, and how I believe, and my feelings is going to control the way that I act. And then that action is going to give me a result. And so that's another one of those just arrows, just step down, that has made such a big impact on me. So, let's say, fitness, so I wanted to get big and strong, but I didn't know how. I know to lift weights, but I didn't know about programming. And so I figured out programming. And then so I was lifting and I was running. But more important than that, nutrition. Mm-hmm. Nobody really talked about that. I didn't know anything about that, but the information was out there. And so I wanted that result. And so I had to go get the information so I could act upon it. And so I started figuring out about how to go through my diet, what I was doing every day, what was my protein intake, so I could build that. What energy is from the carbs. What kind of carbs? What's the clean stuff? What's the junk? And I wanted to do that so I could feel good. And the better that I felt good, the better that I showed up every day for my customers, for my family. And guess what? That gave me the result to make more money. And then that gives me a result to make more friends, to have more fun. Mm-hmm. And it builds that courage inside. And I started having more confidence in myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. So, John, we've known each other for a couple of years now, and you've grown and developed, and now you're adding value to other people. But you recently opened up your own business. You recently jumped out and done the thing. And I was just, I would love to hear, maybe there's some people out there listening, they've kind of toyed with the thought and the idea. For you, what was the moment of like, what, I'm doing this thing? What was that moment for you?
Man, I was on the, you remember it. It took a lot of back and forth conversations, just on the fence. Just, oh, I'm gonna do something else. Oh no, I'm gonna stay. Oh no, I'm mad again. I'm gonna leave. No, I'm gonna stay. But it just got to the point where I knew that my self-worth, my self-value was worth more. And so my grandfather passed about 1.5 years ago in January, and my father-in-law passed a month later. And I remember doing both of those funerals and really realizing that, man, we're not promised tomorrow. Two of the greatest, guys in my family have just passed away, and, I had to do their funerals, and I wanted to leave a legacy. What was their legacy? So whenever I did their funerals and I had to process and I had to write it out of who they were on a piece of paper and then tell that to other people, It makes you think, what is somebody going to say about me? Mm-hmm. You know, what am I scared of? Tomorrow's not promised. And so I just remember getting to that point of like, okay, I'm just going to trust God one step at a time, just laying out what will it take for me to get here to there. And then I just started taking one step at a time, one day at a time, being patient, having grace with myself, staying curious. Curiosity is a superpower. Because I remember, well, Cory, I just, I can do the servicing thing, but I don't know about the business part. And you trying to coach me, and you remember what you said? What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing? I was like, the worst thing that could happen is that I could fail and I could go bankrupt and lose my house, and me and my family and kids going to be on the street.
But would they really be on the street?
But would that really happen?
Yeah.
I would never let that happen.
No, you'd find something.
I would find a way. God has promises. And so I remember just slowly just building that confidence and just coming to that point of like, all right, I'm going to do it. And so I got my license. I was like, all right, hey, I got it. Now what? And I didn't have to do anything with it, now that I got it. But then I just started continuing just to take those next steps. And hey, here we are given, it's called Ultimate Pest Solutions. And I wanted something that was top branding. I wanted something that could really stand out to say that, we're not just some blow Joe, but we're actually, bringing solutions to your home and to your family. And that God gave his son for us sinners. He loved us so much that he gave us the ultimate solution to sin through his son and that sacrifice. And what can I sacrifice here on earth so that people can figure out through my actions, my service, my worship, so that they know what the ultimate solution is. And so I, as Chuck says, man, that's authoritative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. John, there's something you said, curiosity killed the cat, or you're talking about stay curious. Something I've been thinking about, and you've probably heard me say it, is, curiosity killed the cat, but the lack of it killed the leader. It's about staying curious that we continue to learn and grow. If I ever get to a point where I'm not curious, if I get to a point where I'm not wanting to grow, and man, I've become basically content and satisfied. I've chosen to settle. And so here's what I would love to ask you, John. What are you learning right now? Like, is there a podcast? Is there a book you're reading? Like, what are you learning right now?
Man, yeah. So everybody's been really supportive and just really gracious with their time. And you can choose who to take information from.
Yeah, Paul Martinelli said, before you ask somebody what they think, make sure they actually think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I remember this guy, he sent a book to my house. He said, you about to go on something big. And so he said, I give this book to everybody. And so, I just finished the book. It's called The Go-Giver.
Colton, our oldest son, he just finished that book too.
Yeah.
A couple months ago. I haven't read it yet. He says it's really good.
It's really good. All right. Well, I'll get you a copy.
Yeah.
And,
I've got one. Yeah, you just,
And so I was a go-getter. I wanted to go get it. I wanted to wake up. I wanted to push to see what I could accomplish. Right? If you want to go, how does it go? If you want to go fast, go by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want to go far, go with a team, go with others, empower other people. And so instead of, yes, a go-getter, being in a sprint mindset or attitude, that's important. But being a go-giver and just serving others and creating those relationships, not expecting anything into return, I think that's where success is. And that's what that book teaches in those principles.
Yeah, man, that's really, really good. Well, Well, John, I really appreciate you, and I know you've added a ton of value to our listeners there. And so maybe there's somebody listening who's like, hey, you know what? I need somebody with some ultimate solutions for my pest. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you for that, but also maybe they've really connected with you and it's like, man, I love your story. I want to know more. I love to ask you questions. How would somebody contact you?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page. You can find me on there, or Instagram, John Tutor, or reach out to my business, right, as well. So John Tutor at Ultimate Pest Solutions LLC. I have a website as well. So ultimatepestsolutionslllc.net. And just reach out and just, hey, you want to grab a cup of coffee, you want to talk, you want to see, what's possible. You want to do business together. You want to see what kind of worship leader that you are and that you can be. So let's connect.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Do you have a favorite quote that you want to leave the people with? Put you on the spot right there. Just curious if you had one.
Jocko Willink, he says, discipline equals freedom. Where do you want freedom in your life? Where do you want to be free? Become disciplined. Stay curious. Take action. The result is freedom. Discipline equals freedom in all areas and all things.
Yeah, I like that. Man, that's good stuff, John. Well, I appreciate you. I know you've added a ton of value to me. I know you've probably added a ton of value to our listeners. And if there is something that John has shared with you that is really impactful, I would love for you to comment and we could pass that along to him. Also encourage you to reach out to John. If there's something in his story or something that connected with you, reach out to him. I'll have his email and his website in the show notes below. You can just click on that. And so we appreciate you guys. Highly encourage you to like this, subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest episodes of the Cory Lee Show, and also share it with a friend or family member. That's a way we can get these messages out, like John, and encourage other people. You never know what season of life people are in and what message will really connect with them. And so you could help us add more value to other people by sharing it with a friend or family member. And so we just want to say, appreciate you guys. Hope you have an awesome day, and God bless.
God bless.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.